And we will get started just as soon as we get some folks joining us here. So we'll get going on that in just a moment. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you had a good night's rest, and we're watching the window of opportunity for severe weather, at least in our area, open a bit in our eastern counties, and then we're going to see it close pretty quickly. I think as we get into the afternoon, I think the main severe weather threat today is going to be along and east of I-35. That's where it looks to me, anyway, where the worst of the weather will be today. So far, there's no watches, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a tornado watch get issued for some of our eastern counties here, maybe over the next few hours. Let's talk quickly about what is going on. First of all, here's a severe thunderstorm warning. This is over into Jefferson County, Oklahoma. This is for a thunderstorm capable of producing a little hail here. And if we look at the wind velocities, there is a little rotation on this storm. And I will say that the atmosphere is becoming a little more favorable for storms to rotate and produce perhaps some tornadoes as we go into the later morning and early afternoon hours, especially as these storms get closer to and east of I-35. But there is a little rotation showing up on this thunderstorm now, just to the east southeast of Waurika. Now, this storm is not impacting Waurika, or the rotation anyway is not impacting Waurika. But the rotation that I'm looking at is right in here. Let me draw it on here for you. Give me just a second here. I got to go to. Give me a second. I'm sorry. All right. So the rotation that I'm watching, and again, this is mostly weak rotation, but it is increasing a little bit, is kind of right in this area here where that blue and that red meet up. And the color palette that I'm using in this particular instance shows the winds blowing, the red blowing away, and then the blues will be blowing towards. So there's a little bit of rotation showing up in that. There could be a little wall cloud with that, perhaps. No tornado with it. I think the main concern, at least for right now, is hail. I don't think that there's at least as of this scan, there's a big tornado threat. But, this one would certainly bear watching, especially over there towards Ringling and into Loco, those areas, eastern Jefferson County and southeastern Stevens County. The warning is issued for some hail that's increasing there, just kind of west and northwest side of the updraft of the thunderstorm, east of Waurika. So Waurika, you're in the clear on this storm, but Ringling and over towards Loco need to be watching. You're really seeing a hook now develop on this storm a bit here. Let's pop this stuff back on here. Give me a second to get that back up. So you're seeing a pretty decent little hook echo developing, and when a storm is spinning, it can it kind of wraps the rain around on the back side of it here some. So that would be your winds that are blowing out away from the radar. That would be the what we call the rear flank downdraft, and then you'd have what we call inflow winds right into this area. So it develops a little kidney bean or a little bit of a hook right in there, and that's what we're seeing with this storm here this morning. If we once again take a look at the latest velocity scans of any rotation in it, very, very weak. But don't be surprised, though, if this storm continues to further develop this morning as it makes its way kind of over into the area. Give me just a second. Don't be surprised if it develops a little bit more as it makes its way a little bit further to the east towards Ringling and in those areas here. So, so just keep an eye out over there to the eastern parts of Jefferson County. Now, I also want to take a look at, there's a tornado warning up to our north this morning, a couple of them up here southeast of Oklahoma City. I'll have to change radar sources. Give me a second. But there's a couple tornado warnings up here just southeast of Oklahoma City. And these tornado warnings are impacting the Purcell and Shawnee are the ones. I think it's going to go just southeast of Norman. But the radar data should update here in just a moment. And when it does, as it's downloading, so give it a second. When it does download, we'll pop it on here for you. But there are some tornado warnings up here. Let me see what our tags are saying here. There's your tornado warnings there near again, southeast of Oklahoma City. And I don't see a lot of intense rotation with this thunderstorm at this time. The circulation within this is pretty broad. but it wouldn't take much for that to tighten up a little bit and for there to be an increasing tornado threat and somewhere in here. But you just don't see significant rotation in these storms here. So I mean, it's one of those things where of course we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning, I guess, that's been issued as well for this particular area. So if you look along this line, these supercells up this way are intensifying. These are definite supercells. Let's take the warnings off here. So you've got one supercell there southeast of Oklahoma City, and you actually got a couple of them there. And that's a pretty gnarly looking supercell to the southeast of Oklahoma City here this morning. So pretty nasty storm that's pushing through these areas here. And if I go down to the southwest, the thunderstorms continue to what we call deepen and intensify there in Jefferson County, Stevens County, and we're probably eventually going to see these thunderstorms increase into these storms down to the south increase as well. Now, these storms down to the south they're on a little bit of what we call an outflow boundary, and as that outflow boundary moves to the east, it has a tendency to what we call undercut the updrafts. And that kind of chokes off what we call the warm, moist inflow into these storms. So it kind of keeps them from being able to spin a whole lot. So we'll just see what can happen. But what we'll need to watch for, and I'll get to points further to the west here in a minute. But what we'll need to watch out for today, and this is going to mostly be out of our viewing area, and our viewing area would be Texoma, and the area that we call Texoma is basically. Give me just a second. Here we go. It's basically from this area over here, Montague County, Wise County, all the way over into this area here. So those are the areas that we watch. So what we're going to have to watch would be these cells that are developing down into this area. Okay, so these storms down this way that develop down in this area, they have more of that cellular look, and they could increase as they move up into these areas here. So the area that I would be a little more concerned about for anything tornadic would probably be up into this area here, and then kind of up into Oklahoma City or just southeast of Oklahoma City. So basically along the east of I-35. But that might include Montague County, Jack County, Wise County, and down towards Mineral Wells, the Metroplex a little bit later on, and then again up into here. These are the areas I'm more concerned about. Now a little bit further to the west, here in the Wichita Falls area. I'm not as concerned about tornadic weather here today. Now, granted, there are a couple little cells moving through. They do have that little kidney bean shape to them, but the back edge, the dry line itself, is coming through. They're about to come through Vernon now, and that's going to sweep across our area pretty fast. Out ahead of it, we'll see if any of these little thunderstorms that are trying to develop can intensify any. There may be a low-end threat for some hail with some of those. But I think the more significant severe weather threat will be east of Wichita Falls, east of Burkburnett, east of those areas. I think that outflow boundary that pushed through this morning really kind of helped kill any chance for anything more significant further to the west, which is a good thing. But again, if I'm over into Montague County, you've got a window of opportunity for a couple hours this morning. Jefferson County, and then. Hold on. We got a tornado warning somewhere. Let me see where it's at. All right, I was giving Jaden some instruction there. So we do have a tornado warning now over here in Jefferson County. We were just talking about this, how we thought it might increase a little bit as it headed into the northeastern parts of Jefferson County. This is mostly rural areas. If you zoom in, the only towns that are really showing up in here would be Ringling and Cornish on my particular radar. So it's mostly rural, and let's check out the velocities on it to see what the rotation. And again, man, it just I wonder if I just don't see, guys. It's on the edge of the radar, so it's real difficult to see. But I do not see any significant rotation in this storm here. I really don't. The rotation, in my opinion, was better on it earlier than it is now. I'm a little bit puzzled as to. I mean, if there is a tornado in that, that is going to be a very weak one. I do not see a significant tornado threat with that at this time. Of course, that could change, but at least that's it as of now. It's on the edge of the radar, so I will say that it's on the edge of the radar, so it's harder to see it. But as of right now, I don't see anything, real significant with that particular storm there, honestly. It does have a pretty intense look to it. Now, I would keep an eye though on these storms that are back to the west. They're growing. They're getting a little bit more intense. They may be a bit undercut though by the updraft, but keep an eye on these storms that are developing light down towards Jacksboro and in those areas because they're going to lift northward. Hold on. I'm trying to communicate with my weather team. But these storms that are developing over like into the southern part of Clay County and down into Jack County, those could become tornado producers. So or they could become severe and maybe try to, develop some rotation as they make their way eastward. And then you're seeing storms also develop down into the western parts of the metroplex. And then we're going to see additional storms fire up there in the along and east of I-35 this afternoon. It's probably going to be quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings and maybe some tornado warnings too. Well, definite some tornado warnings too. So we should see a watch come out pretty soon, I would think. Let me see if there's one issued yet, but I would think we'd get one out here pretty soon. No watch yet, but there should be one. And the watch, in my opinion, should not include Wichita Falls. But once again, I'm watching these areas here. We do got the tornado warning, but I'm going to tell you, folks, even though it's on the edge of the radar, the storm does not look as impressive as it did a little while ago. And I'm going to switch radar sites here and see if the radar site out of Oklahoma City has any different vantage point or different looks at it. But as of right now, it just, to me, just doesn't have, at least from what I've been looking at, have a significant rotation. So there it is from Oklahoma City. And again, it's on the edge of the radar, but at least from this vantage point, there may be better rotation showing up out of Oklahoma City. So in this instance, the rotation in the storm would be kind of right in there. Hold on, I'm trying to communicate with Cameron. But there's your rotation there, and once again, it's somewhat kind of hard to say. I really again don't really see anything in the way of significant rotation. I'd say better rotation there than what I was seeing, out of our radar site closer to here. But if you kind of take a look at that there's your rotation is kind of right in that spot there, kind of west northwest of Ringling. So if you're northwest of Ringling or near Ringling, you need to be getting into your safe spots. This is going to pass southeast of Loco. Well, I don't know. A lot of those guys, a lot of these, you get a lot of these kids here, and I'm not certainly not ripping on anybody for sure, but you get a lot of these young guys that are here that are, over, some of these other TV stations. Sometimes they don't quite have the same experience with this stuff, and as an old timer like me, so they're going to probably err on the side of caution and tell you basically what they're being, what they're told to do. myself again, I'm going to be a little bit. I've been seeing these things for a long time, and I'm a little more, have a little more experience. So I tell you what, I kind of tell you like it is here. So again, I don't, I'm not going to tell you not to get to shelter because, maybe, I certainly think that there's, definitely some rotation there, but it's on the edge of the radar and it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. But northwest of Ringling is where you need to be taking shelter at, though. Um, Ringling itself, I think you're going to be fine. I don't think that this storm is going to impact you. The rotation, in fact, the thing kind of looks a little bit more linear to me now out of Oklahoma City than it does out of Frederick. I will go back to the Frederick. I wonder if Frederick's the closest radar site, so Frederick should give us the best look. But hold on, I'm trying to communicate. I'm trying to see here. I'm looking at some storm chase feed now from Darren Beaver. All right, so I'll keep an eye on that. But again, if we just look at this radar, it's just like I say, it's the edge of the radar. It's on the very edge. You see that purple area there? That shows the edge of the radar, so it's hard to see. But we're going to keep an eye on storms to the west. Here in Wichita Falls, where these are not severe that are moving into the area now. They're going maybe produce some downpours, but there's the back edge. There's your dry line now. You can see it, kind of pushing through Vernon and down to about west of Seymour. Once that zips on by, the threat for severe weather will end. I still believe that these thunderstorms that are trying to develop kind of over us appear to be kind of further west, appear to be a little bit elevated. So the sirens are going off in Heldon, Oklahoma. Oh, Helton's over there just east of Jefferson County. So if you're in Helton, let's look at you now. I'm going to switch and go back over. There's a dead zone over in here. And the dead zone, they need to put another Doppler radar. And I do have some good news. Channel 6 is actually, KUZ, new Channel 6, we're actually building our own Doppler over here. So we will have a Doppler somewhere in this area. It's coming in the next year or so. So there will be a Doppler over there, but it will be exclusive to us. So that's good. So this is a little airplane site. But here you go. Let's get this out of KTLX. This would be from Oklahoma City. And once again, a little rotation. Not a lot, but again, it's on the edge of the radar. So it's very, very difficult to see exactly what's going on. But there is some weak rotation northwest of Ringling. And if you put this in motion, that rotation is going to pass northwest of Helton. So even though the sirens are going off in Helton, I believe the tornado threat will be northwest of you. Now, the sirens are going to sound there because that's in the polygon issued by the warning. And the Weather Service issues polygons, and the polygon is going to include sometimes some areas that may not be directly impacted. So sometimes they do that on the side of caution in case something does change a bit. But I think, at least on this radar, this is going to head up towards Fox, going to pass just southeast of Loco, and going to go north of Ringling. I think you're okay. No threat for a tornado in Ringling right now. It's going to pass well north of you. This is headed towards Fox, though, and Ratliff City, those areas, and that would be north of there. So if you are up into those areas, we'll see how this goes. Other tornado warnings, and even these tornado warnings up here in Oklahoma City, while there's a rotation, it isn't anything that looks like it's producing a tornado at this time. But again, down to the south, little rotation there northwest of Ringling, and going to pass north of Ringling, north of Helton, and head towards Fox. So Fox, Oklahoma, keep an eye on this storm. It is moving in your direction. One thing that you might notice is a lot of this stuff is kind of lining out, and if it lines out, the threat for more significant tornadoes decreases, and you wind up getting a situation where you're looking at more damaging wind threats than tornado threats there. But you go down to the south, and there is cellular activity down here towards Jacksboro. And, keep an eye out, Wise County. We're talking about Bridgeport, Decatur, Alvord, and into Montague County. We'll say Bowie, Nocona, St. Joe, that area. And then over towards like Denton and Gainesville, Ardmore, all those areas, you can be watching out for this activity into the early afternoon. I think by mid to late afternoon, the threat's going to shift east to I-35, and then we'll be focused on severe threats there in the eastern parts of Oklahoma, east and northeast Texas, and especially over in western Arkansas. So that's where the threats will be increasing this afternoon. But my thoughts are that the greatest tornado threat and the greatest severe threat as we head into the afternoon will shift quickly. So let me draw on here what's going on. And I don't know about you, I'm ready for this severe weather stuff to be out of here, man. We needed the rain, but we don't want this severe weather stuff. But your dry line is roughly in here, and it's jetting off to the east real quickly, okay? So there could be some showers and thunderstorms developing along and ahead of that. This is an outflow boundary. That was from storms that developed late last night, and that's where we're seeing those thunderstorms fire up along now. That's where the more intense storms are, and it's going to be moving east this afternoon. And I think the best threat for anything significant, severe weather-wise, will be over here in eastern Oklahoma and northeast Texas this afternoon. But we might even need to kind of draw that kind of over in here. Sorry, this program I'm using isn't exactly great to draw with. But once again, this line here, threat for some severe weather, wind and a little tornadic activity over the next several hours as it moves eastward. And then we'll watch supercells that are developing out ahead of that, northeastern Oklahoma. That would include maybe Tulsa, Muskogee. And then additional storms are going to develop down this way here, and they'll track up into this area. Northeast Texas, southeast Oklahoma, and then over into western Arkansas here. That's where your threats will be, and we will be in the clear over here quickly. So the threats for severe weather here in Wichita Falls are going to continue to diminish pretty fast here this morning. So Olney and Seymour not in any type of threat, so I'm not worried about you. That's why I'm not focused on those guys there. And again, Jody, the storm's moving out of our area by early afternoon. But once again, there's your tornado warning. Moving north of Ringling, north of Helton, at least the cell that prompted that warning. You might get some thunderstorms moving in from the southwest. This stuff's lining out pretty fast, but you do have some discrete supercells from about north to Pauls Valley through Wayne and kind of up towards Shawnee. Those were discrete supercells. Those are rotating some, but they may wind up joining with the storms to the south. There's also, looks like, some outflow boundaries in here, so we may be seeing these thunderstorms get undercut, and they may be a little bit elevated. So that may also be a limiting factor to maybe these storms producing tornadoes here. I think that's what's happening. I think that they're developing along and behind an outflow boundary. Is what I personally think. So I know a lot of times you hear me talk about this stuff, and you're wondering what is he talking about. Well, an outflow boundary is like a cool front. Remember, you in order to get a tornado or to get significant severe weather, you got to have warm air flowing in from the east or southeast. That's very important to feeding those thunderstorms, to keep their storm bases rooted down at the Earth's surface, to keep them, that's what a thunderstorm needs to be, what we call surface base. Surface base storms, the one that produces the bigger hail, and it also produces stronger winds and the greater tornado threat. When an outflow boundary rolls in, an outflow boundary is just rain-cooled air, and it's going to switch your winds around from the south to the west. That switch in wind direction is going to keep the storms from rotating. Plus, it undercuts the updraft, so you no longer have warm air feeding into it. You basically, at the Earth's surface, you've got rain-cooled air feeding into it, so the storm bases are up higher. So that limits and basically kills your tornado threat. But this is a site out of Fort Worth, and it too is so far away from the radar site. It's just you can't see anything. I'll be glad when we get our Doppler built over here near Ardmore, so we'll be able to see this stuff better. But there's the rotation, and that's not bad rotation. I'm going to switch to a different product here. That's not horrible rotation, but since it's so far from the radar site, it's real difficult to see. But this, again, is well north of Ringland. It's mainly rural. This is going to pass southeast of Loco, well northwest of Helton. Helton, you are safe from this particular storm, but, we'll watch and see. Could be some warnings issued out over there closer to the Fox. Fox could get in on this, too. Fox could see some severe weather and maybe some tornado warnings issued for you if this storm continues to show signs of rotation there as that makes its way to the north. Again, here in Wichita Falls, these storms are, what we're seeing, little showers pushing through now. Nothing to be concerned with. These are not severe. All right, so let's see. Tornado watch until 4 p.m. Montague County now in a tornado watch. All right, so let me see. I'm sorry, I'm not able to see all the questions there, so I'm not looking at them yet. I'm doing storm analysis. So there is a tornado watch that's going to include this afternoon. So I'm hearing, my daughter told me she's in Jacksboro and the sirens are going off. There's no warnings in Jacksboro right now, so there should not be any sirens sounding. I'm not sure why they would be. So, trying to see if I can find out which for sure. All right, so the counties, basically this watch is along and east of I-35. There's a few counties west of it. Oklahoma City is not in this watch. Bowie, Nocona, you are in this watch. Jacksboro, you're in this watch. Bridgeport, Decatur, all the Metroplex. Stephenville. This does not include Young County or Palo Pinto County. It does not include Abilene. But it basically goes from Stephenville to basically up east of Oklahoma City. The cities that are included in this would be Tulsa, McAllister, Ardmore, Dallas, Fort Worth, Stephenville. Does not include Waco. Does not include Tyler. So basically along and east of I-35, there's where the tornado watch is located. So, and just a few counties west of that. So I knew it wouldn't include Wichita Falls. So that's good. It doesn't need to. So. But these thunderstorms continue to move pretty quickly to the east, the outflow boundary. We'll watch these thunderstorms down towards Jacksboro. Those are increasing a little bit down that way, and if they continue to do so, and if they can organize, you might see some severe weather aspects with these as they make their way towards parts of Wise and Montague County. But as of right now, the main concern within this line is damaging winds with a low wind threat for some type of a spin-up to develop within it. So we'll keep an eye on that. And a couple supercells there up near Shawnee, those areas. They're moving to the east, northeast there. So no threat for tornadoes, or really limited threats for any severe weather here in Wichita Falls. I mean, they're, maybe some small hail, but that would be more the exception than the rule. No tornado threat here. And again, this activity should be out of our area by early afternoon. I'm talking about 1, 2 o'clock. Should be east of it. Should be east of I-35 by that time. But maybe a couple more hours, Montague County and Wise County. Of course, there's a new tornado warning that just got issued that does include southeastern parts of Stevens County here. That would be for that same cell. I'm not sure why Loco. Maybe because the rotation is maybe just a hair southeast of Loco. But Loco, you're not. I don't know why the Weather Service included you in this, especially the city itself. You shouldn't be. There's not a tornado threat in Loco. The threat is east and northeast of you. But it does include Fox. It does include Ratliff City, Elmore City. This is going to be all areas moving to the southeast of Oklahoma City. That's where all is going to be. A lot of storm chasers are now titling November, Mayvember, because May's our tornado month. Not usually November's not. But that rotation is going to pass. There it is. There's the latest update there. You can see it on the radar. And that rotation is missing Loco. I'm not sure why Loco. Loco, you are not in danger from this. The rotation is east of you. There is the Loco area. There is the area southeast of Loco. It's missing you. It's not going to hit you. So no tornado threat in Loco. Let's take this part of the warning out. This should not be warned here. I don't know why it is. But, the area that we should be concerned with would be basically here. Those are the areas, not this over here. Okay, Loco, you're good. Fox, Helton, you're good too. It's going north of you. So if you've got storm anxiety and you're in loco, don't worry, you're good. So Suzanne wants to know, will they be coming to my area in northeast Arkansas? Yeah, but should be weaker by the time they get there later on tonight. So I am going to take the time and try to answer a few little questions here. And of course, we'll be watching it. Cameron, Jaden's at the station, and it's a good experience for him to, get to track some of this stuff, and he knows what he's doing. He's young too at this stuff, but he's pretty good. He's had a pretty good coach. And Cameron's in the tracker heading that way now too to see if he could catch any of the stuff coming out of Jack County in those areas. So if he is, we might be able to do some stuff here with you. So let's try to answer a couple questions here. So you're from Gainesville, Virginia. Thanks for joining us here, Sean. Well, Alexis, don't worry about having, don't try not to be too over anxious. We'll keep an eye on things over there. There could be a little bit of some storms over that way activity, maybe a little bit of a severe threat, and we'll keep an eye on you there in Denton, all right? Oh, okay, so maybe that's why they were sounding them. I'm not sure. It's only 11 o'clock, so it isn't noon. So, but I don't know what they're. Usually, emergency managers won't sound sirens when there's thunderstorms going on. So, no, Brad, I do not think we'll get bad storms here in Wichita Falls today. No. Bowie, there will be storms in your area shortly, but they're not severe at this time. So. Let's see, Darren Beaver's live there. Let me see what he's got. See, I'm looking at Darren Beaver's feed, and there's definitely no wall clouds wherever he's at, but you can definitely see the humid, moist environment and the clouds racing there. So. But southeastern Stevens County is the spot where that warning is now east of Loco. Wichita is not in any of these watches. In fact, the threat for severe weather here in Wichita Falls is very low. So let's look back here and see what we got. There's your rotation well east of Loco, but it's headed right at Fox. If you're in Fox, and again, it's on the edge of the radar, so it's very difficult to tell exactly what's going on with this. But there does appear to be some rotation there just southwest of Fox. So what I'm going to do here, give me a second. I'm going to put something on. I'm not sure that we can see it. We're going to try anyway. I'm looking at some stuff. Give me just a second, folks. All right, I'm not sure if you can see this or not. We're going to try to. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm having to use a screen grab to show you this. So let me see if we can. I just did something pretty cool I want y'all to see. It's a real good way to show you what's going on with these storms here. You can see it in a 3D way. So give me a second. I'm just playing around with some stuff here to try to be able to pull this in. So I don't know that we'll be able to. Yes, there it is. All right. All right, so you see this here. This is a 3D look at the storm, and we're going to look back here where this blue area is here, all right? You don't really see anything descending down from the cloud there, and it's back here what I'm looking at. There's your rotation. You can see the little spin aloft, but you don't see it stretching down to the ground. This is a really cool feature that this radar product has. So as long as that doesn't reach down to the ground, we're okay. I don't see it's mostly a loft, but you do see a little bit of a twist there. You see where the blues and the reds do match up there a bit. So right now that's suspended mostly aloft. You don't see a lot of it extending down to the ground. We can look at other stuff too. But again, you don't see that reaching down to the ground. So that's good. We'll keep an eye on that. But that's pretty cool, though, isn't it? So, all right, let's go back to our radar. I had a lot of stuff to do this weekend, but it wound up getting thrown out the window because of weather. So, but that's just the way it goes, right? All right. Let's go back and see if anybody's got any. Yes. Again, Bowie. Miranda wants to know: Will the storms come up the Bowie suck up the instability air? It could, but it just depends on what that outflow boundary. If the outflow boundary moves east of you, then no, you don't have to worry about it. It kills your tornado chances there. How's the weather looking between Wichita and Fort Worth after 5 today? It looks fine. Um, yeah, there's a pretty big dark cloud coming into Tacoma right now for sure. But it's not a. I think what you're seeing probably more than anything else is the outflow boundary coming in there. I really do. I believe that. Really believe that's mostly what you see there. So just switching radar sources. It takes it a minute to load in. But there's Nakona, and then there's these storms. But you don't see I don't see organization to any of these storms yet. But they could still do so. Look at all the showers and storms developing over towards Dallas. And something else too that could help mitigate the tornado threat summits. If we get a whole bunch of storms over that way, it produces a lot of heavy rain, and those storm interactions will limit the chances for tornadoes too. You're also seeing thunderstorms develop over here in East Texas too, and southwestern Arkansas. Could be some severe weather developing over there this afternoon too. So keep an eye over that way. But again, this activity will be through our area pretty fast. So, storm by Albany, is it headed towards Albany? Yes, it is, but remember now, you're on the backside of this outflow boundary. So, if these storms are headed in your direction, they're going to be what we call elevated. The threat for anything severe with those is very low. But again, we're watching these. I'm watching these, but there's nothing that's imminent that looks super bad, at least in our area right now. So once again, are those storms? There may be some showers or thunder showers into Wichita Falls, but no, they're not. I am not concerned about Wichita Falls at all. Okay, yes, a little rain, a little more rain, but even the rain will be over with here soon. I will say this that the November weather pattern does remain active. It looks active, and and even though we usually don't see a lot of severe weather in November, this has been a very weird fall. So there could be more threats for strong storms even deeper into November. We'll have to just kind of wait and see how everything lines up, but it certainly is possible. But this line of storms is moving pretty quickly. Again, that's mostly outflow driven, outflow boundaries. That's the leading edge of that is outflow boundary. And that's what's killing the instability. Now, watch those storms trying to develop north of the Denton area, north of Dallas. Those are the ones that could eventually become supercells there, south central and southeastern and eastern parts of Oklahoma. But I think for most of our area, I think we're going to be okay. But we'll watch, Wise County and Montague County for a little bit. Make sure that nothing major goes on with any of that stuff. And there's some stuff coming in from the southwest too, but I believe that's going to mostly be elevated. I think it's going to be based up high up in the atmosphere. That's where your updrafts are going to be. I think that's in the cool air. And I don't think there's going to be a big severe weather threat with that, at least as of right now. But, of course, if anything changes, I'll let you know. So we're going to keep an eye on it for at least now. And if anything changes, we'll let you know. So I'm going to jump off here. And if anything changes, I'll jump back on my social media platforms, and we'll let you know what's what. So until then, have a great day, everybody.